How's it going, everybody? It's Pirate Family. We are back with another FPL live stream, and today we're doing a game week, double game week 27 review, as well as game week 28 preview / deadline-ish stream for that. Deadline is tomorrow. This is at the time of recording this live stream on the 16th of March 2023. So we'll take a look how we did in game week 27. Kane red hot is the topic of today's stream as well, as he tied Ivan Toney for the most points, at least in my team, and is potentially a huge captaincy vote for this upcoming blank game week, with only a few set of fixtures left to go before the international break in between Game Week 28 and Game Week 29. We'll also look at predictions and how we did for last week, as well as our predictions and differential picks for this week, and some future transfer plans and all that sort of stuff that we normally do. We'll discuss some stuff with chips as well, what I'm playing, what potentially you could be doing as well. If you haven't done so already, those who have already wildcard in 26-27, you know, you could be on the good side of things now with that game week just gone, and we'll take a look at a whole bunch more. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, we have the team up on the screen for you. And it's a good one this week. 105 points. Fantastic stuff. We love to see it. I'm just keeping an eye on the Arsenal game, which is still going on. It's into... not sure if this is added time or extra time or what's going on here. Yeah, extra time, actually. 1-1. I did see on Twitter the crazy goal that was scored from the Sporting Lisbon player. So, yeah. Make Arsenal nice and tired. Actually, one thing I do want to check before we actually continue. Let me see. Have they brought on Saka yet? Has Saka come on yet? Kyle Saka has come on, as has Thomas Partey. Okay. Right. Let's move it back to here. Right. So, moving back to FPL, Arsenal can wait. Well, maybe we have some Arsenal players to talk about, but because there's going to be a lot of managers actually getting rid of their Arsenal players this week, funnily enough. Or at least maybe shuffling them around, potentially prepping to get rid of them. Changing which ones they want, a whole bunch of different things, and somewhere in between. So yeah, this game week 27, double game week 27, it was a double for Crystal Palace, Southampton, Brentford, and Brighton. We loaded up on our game week 26 wildcard with triple Brentford and double Brighton, and they've all come through pretty good. We captained Ivan Toney this week, which was fantastic. He was the highest scoring player, tied with Harry Kane in our team, so we did quite well. And apart from basically playing Trippier over one of Saka or Rashford, which I was never going to do, we played the most points in our team possible, which is a good thing. So, yeah, pretty good. We'll talk about why I only went with 2 Brighton this week and what it was from beforehand. Basically, I wanted to get a little look at see who I was kind of wanted to pin down, as well as some potential money issues for bringing back in Haaland, because he's probably going to be going this week for us. We still have value tied up in him from the beginning of the season, but he might have to go this week, unfortunately. So, we had David De Gea in goal, one of our 2 keepers. Just minimize that. Just making sure the sound was working. Move that out the way. Okay. All right, cool. So yeah, David De Gea in goal, 8 points, fantastic. Kept a clean sheet even with the sending off, which is again ridiculous considering there's 3 challenges worse in the Chelsea-Leicester game that were not even looked at by VAR, which is interesting to see how constantly Manchester United are being pulled up VAR, and I think Casemiro is now starting to just be targeted. That anytime he goes in for a challenge, they're going to look at it with a microscope. And he's going to miss 4 games because of it. He's going to miss the FA Cup fixture on the weekend, and he's going to miss the 3 Premier League games, 2 of which are in double game week 29, as well as the game week 30 fixture, which definitely hampers United a bit. But David De Gea, 8 points. We know he's going to start game in, game out. Pretty happy with his performance. Back line, Estupinian, 9 points. Ben Mee, 9 points. Rico Henry, 8 points. We take that all day long. We expect a clean sheet in one. Nothing in the other. Estupinian, definitely very happy with him. I'm not sure why a lot of members are trying to get rid of him. He is very attacking, to me personally. I think he's such good value as well. And I think you kind of just hold him. He's just playing so well. He kind of provides that, like, additional attacker when they really need to overload the box. If the striker drops off, he's running in beyond. Mitoma's holding the width. Solly March is potentially cutting inside from the right-hand side. And McAllister's getting in the box. So I really like Estupinian's play. I think Mitoma continues to kind of tick along. 12 points again. Very, very solid as well. But the Brentford defenders keeping a clean sheet. Ben Mee getting himself a bonus point. We take that as well. So double Brentford defense paying off. And I'll include Ivan Toney in this. Got himself a goal and an assist. And maximum bonus points in the game versus Southampton. However, there's a caveat with Mr. Toney. We have a bone to pick with him. He's got himself a 9th yellow card. A 9th yellow card. That is 1 away from a suspension of 10 yellow cards. And that suspension would mean he's out for not 1, but 2 games. So, basically what we need from Toney is, against Leicester and Brighton, he needs to not get booked. If he doesn't get booked, he's home free because I'm going to get rid of him in 30 anyway. So, I need him to not get booked in... If he's going to get booked in any of the games... I mean, I would love for him to not play versus United, but in terms of a double game week prospect, if you're going to get booked in any game, get booked in the United game. Plain and simple. Or get booked in the Leicester game. Don't get booked in the Brighton game. That's the only one I don't want you to get booked for. Because at least in the Leicester, if he gets booked in the Leicester game, okay, cool, I take him out, boom. Put in somebody else in his place, bang, shebang, all is gravy. But if he doesn't get booked in the last game and he gets booked in the Brighton game, then he just basically misses a fixture, which is not what you want. But he did well for us this week, so we're happy about that. Arsenal midfielders, I saw Martinelli's on benches. I saw Odegaard's on benches. I saw Gabriel, who's not a midfielder, but Arsenal player, on benches with just a boatload of points. And those who bench boosted, fair play, well done. If you didn't bench boost, I feel sorry for you. But yeah, Martinelli continues to tick along. If I had to choose between selling Saka or Martinelli, I'm selling Saka all day long. I think Martinelli is just a more valuable asset at the moment. He's just getting in better positions. When he plays with Jesus, he's better. When he plays with Trossard, he's better. The only time when we see Martinelli's form dip was when Nketiah was through the middle. So, and with Jesus coming back, I think he played 45 minutes. It was kind of a planned substitution, I'm pretty sure, for that. Whether don't think it's a re-injury. I think it's just a plan. He was going to play 45 minutes, come off, and that's kind of it. Rashford, 3 points. He's not going anywhere. Unfortunate for him to not get anything out of the United game, with United getting such an early red card. Had to play with 10 men for 65 minutes, so a bit unfortunate there. Haaland got the only goal in the Palace game. Again, doesn't really actually makes the rank worse, but we did captain Ivan Toney, who did well for us, and Harry Kane getting 13 points as well. Was very happy to see him turn into red hot form just in time for me to captain him versus Southampton, which is a very, very good fixture, and most notably the one that was, I believe it was last season. It was last season before last, where basically him and Son just ripped them to shreds at St. Mary's when they won like 6-1 or 5-1 or whatever it was. And then on the bench, Kepa, Trippier, Botman, and Madison. I was so happy that Newcastle conceded, because I was like, if Newcastle, this is going to be they're going to keep a clean sheet. It's going to be guaranteed, sure shot thing, and I'm going to have a boatload of points on my bench and I'm going to be sad. Wasn't the case. Had I bench boosted, I would have got, what's that, 12 points total? Trippier 5, 7, 9, yeah, 12 points. So wouldn't have been the greatest of bench boosts. I mean, you would have half taken if it was the last ditch resort, but definitely glad I didn't use it. Although my bench boost could still come up with less points in Gameweek 29, but we'll see. Moving on to the predictions and how we did. So let's bring up the tweet for that. So there is our tweet. Now, if you aren't familiar with how we do the predictions, basically, if you get the exact score right, 3 points. You get the result right, 1 point. You don't get any of those two right, no points. Is basically how it's going to work. So let's see how we did. So, Bournemouth, Liverpool, sorry. Yeah, kind of half expected this. Even though I predicted Liverpool to win 2-0, I said it wouldn't shock me. I said in the last stream, would not shock me if Liverpool went away to Bournemouth and lost or drew. What happens? Salah missed a penalty. It's nowhere even close. It's probably still flying, to be honest. And Bournemouth won. Congratulations, Liverpool. You won the Manchester United Cup, even though we've beaten them twice more this season or whatever. But yeah, I mean, it is what Liverpool spent all their energy in the United game and then go and drop points to Bournemouth. Just baffling. So yeah, didn't get that prediction right. Brentford 2, Everton 1, and that's what I predicted. Everton ended up getting the 1-0 Sean Dyche fashion. Was expecting Brentford to go there and do well. Apparently not. Leeds Brighton 2-2. This was actually a bit of a shocking one to me. I thought Brighton would just go there and just pretty much sweep them away. Solly March owners were definitely mad at this point, and I feel sorry for you because I'm pretty sure he touches it. At worst case, he gets an assist for the own goal, and he still didn't get it. So I'm just kind of confused, to be honest. But yeah, 2-2, only the 1 point there for either side. Chelsea 3-1 over Leicester, predicted 2-1, so our first point is on the board now. Spurs 2-0 over Forest. It was the same margin, ended up being 3-1. Kane getting 2 goals in that one. Richarlison providing some assists in that one as well. Man City 2, Crystal Palace 1, ended up being 1-0 Man City. Man City should have definitely scored more, I think. Made hard work of it, but ended up getting the result. Arsenal 3, Fulham 0. I mean, that was pretty much a guaranteed. Or as guaranteed as you can get. Not much to say there. Man United 3, Southampton 0. I mean, there was chances for both teams. I think the officiating is, especially around Man United, but not just Man United, but in the Premier League in general, has just been absolutely appalling. I think Casemiro personally is being targeted because Andre Mariner was the referee on the day when he sent him off for grabbing Will Hughes' collar, which is, last time I checked, it's not something you should get sent off for, especially considering Ben White, William Saliba, Erling Haaland, just to name a few, all did it in the weeks to come after that. So that's a bit interesting on how that works. But regardless, United dropped points, which obviously isn't good, and we got our prediction wrong. So no points there. West Ham 1, Villa 1. We got that score exactly right, so 3 points there. Fantastic stuff. Watkins scoring again. We'll look into him as well, potentially as a Haaland replacement. Newcastle 1, Wolves 0. It ended up being 2-1 in favor of Newcastle, so we still get the 1 point for the victory there. Brighton 3, Crystal Palace 1. Ended up being just the 1-0 for Brighton. It could have been 3-0 Palace in the first few minutes of the game. I mean, Palace were absolutely battering Steele's goal. And could have easily been a very, very good showing for Palace, but wasn't meant to be. Solly March scores a very good goal, and Brighton take the victory. So we get the 1 point there. Brentford 2, Southampton 0. We got another exact score. That's 3 more points there on the board. Tony getting a goal and an assist in typical Brentford fashion. making quick work of Southampton. Although at times Southampton did have a lot of the ball, Brentford looked very assured at the back. Clean sheet for Brentford, definitely was. Steele got himself, I think it was 11 points on the game week, so he was good. Pinnock got himself a clean sheet as well, so that was a good pick. Zaha, unfortunately, came away with not so much, as they did not score a single goal this week. And Ferguson, I don't believe was involved in any of the goals. No, he wasn't, and wasn't involved in that one either. So a bit unlucky for those who went with Ferguson, as Danny Welbeck started the second game. So we got 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, 14 points, which is a good score. We got 3 exact scores with only 2 additional fixtures, which is actually quite good. So definitely one of our better, if not our best, performance for predicting scores. So let's write that down. We keep a notebook of it so we can discuss it at the end of the season. But yeah, 14 points on predictions is pretty good. 3 out of 5 on the clean sheet and differentials is about par for the course. So yeah, very good week for the predictions, and the team did well as well, which is always nice to see. So let's move into the predictions for this week. A lot less fixtures, and I say a lot less, I mean, what, 2 less? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 3 less than normal. So we'll move that out the way. We'll put up the predictions. And we'll put those up on the screen for you. So remember, Friday deadline. And I got hit in the face by my water bottle. Friday deadline this week. Remember, the UK have not gone... they haven't adjusted their clocks yet. So the times are going to be a bit wonky, depending on what time zone you are. So for me, normally this would be a... 4 hours behind UK time, but currently it's only 3 hours behind UK time. So, but come the weekend, so you see on the Sunday match, the Arsenal Palace game is at normalish time. So, or yeah, I mean, that's gonna probably change. It'll change to I don't know. Maybe it is the correct time. Let me see what are the times afterwards. Yeah, the times are normal afterwards. So maybe this game... I don't know when the UK changed their clocks, to be honest. I think it's this weekend coming. I could be wrong, though. I could be wrong. But anywho. First fixture out the gate. Newcastle and Forest. Forest are at home in this one, which is why I've given them a goal. But I think Newcastle will win this one, so I've gone with a 2-1. Aston Villa versus Bournemouth. I've gone with Aston Villa with a 2-0 win. I expect Watkins to play some part in those goals as well, which is why I'm definitely looking at him as a Haaland replacement. The reason being is because their team is just designed to just put him in behind, really, which is quite favorable for Ollie Watkins, to be honest. Everything just kind of goes towards him, which is a good thing if you're a Watkins owner. Brentford, Leicester, I've gone with 3-1. A lot of goals in this one, I expect. Leicester, not the best defensive team. Brentford are usually quite strong at home, which is why I've given them the victory in this one. Spurs versus Southampton. Spurs are away from home, and as mentioned previously, Kane, red-hot form. This was the fixture a season or 2 ago, where him and Son absolutely ripped up the entire Southampton team. Getting 5 goals. I think he got a goal and 4 assists or something that day, and Son got 4 goals. Absolutely crazy. So definitely expect it to be hopefully a much tighter game if you're a Southampton fan. But I expect 2-1. I think Spurs will probably concede to something, kind of whatever, like James Ward-Prowse will get a corner or something and put it in, because Spurs defensively aren't great, especially away from home. But this could be a game where Spurs slip up. Potentially, so that's why I've gone a bit closer than what I normally would have. If it was at home for Spurs, I would have predicted like 2 or 3-0. Wolves Leeds, I think Wolves, I've given them the advantage here being at home. I've gone with 2-1. But it could be a very energetic game. Both teams are very kind of like actively all over the place all the time. So we're going to see a lot of different transitions, I think, in this game on the break from both teams. And there's going to be space for Wolves. There's going to be space for Leeds when Wolves are attacking with that if they get the ball back off them, that they could not be set. And there could be chances for both teams. So it could be an interesting game, to be honest. Chelsea-Everton, I've gone 2-0 Chelsea. I just think that Everton away from home are much weaker. And I think this isn't a game where Sean Dyche is going to be like putting all his eggs in the basket. Like, we need to win this game. If they get a point, cool. But I think that they're just going to try not to get their goal difference potentially put up. Chelsea are getting progressively better. Ben Chilwell back in the team. Reece James back in the team, looking good. They're finally finding a place where Havertz can actually look decent. João Felix is looking good, at least in my opinion as well. And they got that structure at the back now where their wingbacks are the creators. Chelsea could be a real threat and could make a late surgence into the European places this season. Then lastly, on the Sunday, we've got Arsenal versus Palace. I think Palace are a team where they're not going to want to try to do a whole lot in this game, I wouldn't think. This isn't the type of game where they're expecting themselves to win or try to get battered in. Arsenal at home, they're going to be a bit defensive. They're going to literally try to play on the break. They could just kind of disrupt play, 0-0 halftime, 0-0 50 minutes, 0-0 60 minutes, and they'll keep going. Then the Vieira will probably chuck on Elise and Eze and these sorts of players, and then see if they can get something from the game. That's pretty much how I see it going. But I think Arsenal will pick them apart, especially considering Crystal Palace look like they're probably not going to have their first choice goalkeeper or second choice goalkeeper for them for the weekend as well. So I've gone with 3-0. Clean sheets, I've gone with Aston Villa. And to pair that up, the defender of the week that I've gone as my differential pick is Tyrone Mings. 4.5% owned. Pretty cheap. 4.3 million, I think he is. A lot of members of the community would have brought him in several weeks ago to cover for this blank. And I think it's a pretty good pick. Goalkeeper, I've gone with a very left field pick. I've gone with Bazunu of Southampton. I think he's been playing well. He's been making good saves. I think if there is a game that could be potentially an upset and you can get some serious upside, it would be Spurs and Southampton. So I've gone with Bazunu. Midfield, Sade, I was surprised to see that he was actually a midfielder. Started on the left for Brentford, was very active, very involved, strong, pacey. I like him a lot. And he's literally owned by 0.0% of the game, at least statistically. Not enough to show up on the 0.1% margin of total players in the game. So you're looking for something super differential. If you're on a free hit or something like that, maybe he's your man. And then lastly, Solanke has some good fixtures. You know, Villa away isn't a bad fixture. Then also has, I believe it's Fulham and Brighton. Yeah, Fulham and Brighton. Both are at home. So, again, 1.9%. Very cheap forward. If you're looking for somebody to come in that's going to cover you for this week as well as in the double, Solanke could be the guy to go for. So, those are my clean sheet and differential picks. Now, let's move on to the current team. Just going to do a quick check on the Arsenal score. It is still draw central, 1-1, and it's 115th minute. Goes penalty shootout. I might have to watch that later on and see the drama unfold. So, yeah, I'm going to close that and put this back on the screen. There we go. So, this is the team currently up on the screen. So you can see all the players on my bench have blanks as well as Holland. Everyone else has a fixture. We planned it this way with the wild card. So we got Kepa in goal, Everton at home. Trippier and Botman on the double up with Forest and Forest away. We have Ben Mee and Henry, some people call him, but Rico Henry with Leicester at home in defense. We've got Madison. We've got Saka as our captain currently, with Martinelli as well. Haaland, who's blanking. Kane with the vice captaincy, and Tony as well. So again, we have Maddison playing against our Brentford defense. If I had to choose between what would happen, I would say Maddison would score a brace. Tony would score a brace assisted by Ben Mee and Rico Henry or something like that. That'd be nice. And it ends up being a 2-2 or something. I don't know. But probably not going to happen. But we can get rid of Haaland this week. We can get rid of Haaland. And I think that's going to be for a striker, because we also have 2 free transfers as well. We rolled last week, so we have 2 frees available this week. We set it up that way, and things have been going to plan as to plan, as it were. We had Kepa and De Gea because we wanted to cover for this blank game week. We can take out Haaland, and we can bring in one of a few strikers, basically, in that position that have doubles, that also play in this game week, that we would like to keep for slightly longer term. So, apologies for that. Hit a random button, and it made a noise in Windows. So, we have 0.5 million in the bank, right? So, if we're looking at players that potentially we could pick from, so the obvious one that a lot of people in the FPL community are going for is Ollie Watkins. 7.4 million went up in price last night. Conveniently, Haaland went down at the same time. He's got, what is that, 6 goals in the last 7? He's been putting up some pretty good numbers, all things considered. Above 0.5 XG in, what's that, 5 out of those 7 games. Pretty good. And his fixtures are pretty decent. Bournemouth at home is a good fixture versus a team that is down the bottom. But Ollie Watkins seems to do a little bit better even away from home. So the away fixtures are actually quite good. Chelsea haven't been the best of teams coping with somebody kind of being a nuisance. And Leicester are always, kind of weak at the back. And then he has a decent string of fixtures after that. Forest in 30. Newcastle, which is going to be a bit more difficult, but he is at home, which Newcastle seem to do slightly worse than if they were at home. Brentford away, it's a tough place to go, but his former club when he played in the Championship, if I'm getting that correctly, it was him, Neil Maupay, Ben Rama, I want to say, that played for Brentford. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure I'm correct. And then Fulham as well. So decent run of fixtures. So I like the pick. The only thing is that when we'll talk about that when we look at FPL.team, is that we could run into some money issues. So we'll take a look at that. The next player, we mentioned him. Good differential pick. Oh, he's 5.5 million now. Dominic Solanke. Just a couple assists in his last few games. He's only been playing since game week 23. Was injured for a bit. Has 3 goals, 7 assists on the season. Not bad. For his price is decent. And his fixtures got Villa, obviously, because he's playing Ollie Watkins, in 28. Fulham and Brighton at home in 29 is not bad. Leicester away in 30, you wouldn't mind playing him in that. Spurs away, you could potentially bench him. And then he's got a good run of fixtures in 32, all the way to pretty much the last couple of games, where you could potentially play him. You could put him on the bench, you could do whatever. And you can play him when you basically need him. You wouldn't mind benching someone at 5.5 million as well. So it is an option there. Another forward that looks to be quite good, Iheanacho. He is 6.1 million at the moment. He's got a couple goals in his last 5. Had a 1.05 XG in the Southampton game. Did not score. He seems to be getting taken off at the 60 to 75 minute mark for Jamie Vardy, who just comes on and is just ineffective. But my only problem would be that he could just randomly be rotated. So we might have to steer clear of him as well. Another option is Joe Felix, as is correct pronunciation. 1 goal in the last 5. Not putting up the greatest XG numbers. Has Everton at home, and then Villa and Liverpool at home. So 3 home fixtures in a row. but doesn't have the greatest run from 31 onwards in Brighton, Man United, Brentford, and Arsenal, with City and Newcastle to end the season. So Chelsea aren't the greatest, but for the double could be okay. With such a big squad, I still don't expect him to get rotated, but is definitely an option there. Someone who is also looking at potentially going into a lot of FPL manager teams is Kai Havertz as well. Kai Havertz scored versus Leicester, has been constantly being picked, playing 90 minutes, is the penalty taker apparently as well, although I don't think he's very good at them personally, but is also an option up front. Other forwards that we can potentially look at as well, we just kind of take a scroll. Mitrovic would potentially be an option, however, doesn't have a fixture in this week and only plays one fixture in 29, although it is a good one and has a good run of fixtures afterwards. You can go for the double up for Brentford with Bryant and Bomo. Leicester, Brighton, and Man United, potentially an option there, 4.8% ownership. Liverpool, just completely forgotten about. They don't play this week, so if you don't need the striker for this week, you can't bring them in. But Chelsea away, Man City away, it seems like they just play up to the big team, so maybe Darwin is a punt that you can go for. West Ham, we haven't talked about them much, but Danny Ings doesn't have a fixture this week, but if you don't need him for this week, you can have him versus Southampton at home and Newcastle at home, which is actually quite a good run. Then he has Fulham afterwards. He does have Arsenal at home, potentially could do something there, and then has Bournemouth away, and then a little kind of tough run of fixtures after that. Of course, you can go for Gabriel Jesus, played 45 minutes tonight. I think it's still a bit too early. Has the Palace fixture in 28 if you just want him for that. Then plays the single versus Leeds at home in 29. But again, not a doubler per se. And then it's pretty kind of slim pickings from there. Wilson, and you probably throw Isak into this conversation. Forest away, then Man United at home, West Ham away are options for both Isak and Wilson. But again, they could be swapping minutes. Wilson and Isak have had their injury troubles this season as well. So again, that might be a bit difficult. But the standout pick, I would say, probably is Watkins if I had to put my kind of chips on it. At this current moment in time, but I'll kind of deliberate on it. I'm not going to make any transfers tonight, but let's see what that'll look like down the line, because we did say that Watkins could cause us some money trouble. So this is FPL.team. If you're not familiar with the website, it's fantastic. It allows you to basically kind of change your team and look ahead and all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to put set projected fixtures from Planet FPL, which is James, who does a fantastic, James and Suj, that do a fantastic job kind of making podcasts around chip strategies and fixtures and that sort of stuff. And James kind of breaks it down, and he's basically put in where he thinks the fixture is going to go. So this will currently have doubles for Man United and City in 34 and 37. Or in around those areas. Brighton doubles in like 31, 34, 37, those sorts of things as well. So yeah, let's take a look and see. So Botman would come in. Rashford would go on the bench as well. We currently have the captaincy on Saka, but that could definitely change. So, and Kepa would come in as well. So Haaland would come out, and we could put in Ollie Watkins for him. So let's do that. Ollie Watkins is in. Versus Bournemouth. Again, a captaincy pick as well. Personally, I would go for Saka or Kane. But, or even Martinelli even. But with Arsenal going 120 minutes tonight at a bare minimum, plus potential penalties, maybe that's not the correct play. So we'll just leave it at that. So that would be the team. We got good squad out. The only obviously conflicting thing is that Maddison does play against Brentford. Is what it is. Moving into game week 29, we would play De Gea over Kepa, who has better fixtures, but we're bench boosting, so it doesn't really matter who we play. But we want to have our bench boost to be as realistic as possible. So Estupinian would play over probably Ben Mee. Rashford would play over Rico Henry. Mitoma would play over one of the Arsenal players for sure. That would be our current realistic bench boost, but we're getting rid of both Martinelli and Saka, or at least that is the plan, which would mean Kane would go to the bench. So let's move Kane to the bench. Martinelli's going to come out for one of Mitoma or Solly March. I'll make a decision much closer to the time, but if we... not Mitoma, McAllister, sorry. But I'll show you why the money could get tight if we do go McAllister. Saka would come out. We want triple United, I think. And I think Bruno Fernandes is going to be, even without, like, even playing a deep-lying role, he's still very, very good. So, yeah, that would probably be our bench boost there. Actually, we'll probably put Rico Henry in just because of the attacking return. So it'd be like one Brentford, one Newcastle, Kane, and Kepa would be kind of like our kind of choice there. In terms of who would be our captain, I mean, we'd probably make Rashford the captain. And yeah, that would leave us 4.4 million in the bank. And coming to game week 30, De Gea would stay in goal. We'd probably play Rico Henry and Trippier just because they're the more attacking. Kane would come back in over one of the Brighton players. Let's just say McAllister for argument's sake here. And then we would get rid of Tony, who would go back to Holland, who is currently 12.1 million. But if we see some price changes, that sort of stuff, which could cause this to be an issue, then we might have to kind of wait and hold. So game week 30, game week 29, so Man City Liverpool play on the 1st of April. They play on the 1st of April after the international break. So I can bring in Haaland once that game's over because I don't believe City play a fixture midweek there. So, and I don't think there's anything scheduled. So I can literally go Tony to Haaland, bang, straight out, assuming Haaland's fit, and then worry about the repercussions afterwards. So yeah, game week 30, it would be exact money to do Tony to Haaland. He would come in. Haaland would be our captain, let's say, whatever it may be. And then off we go. Then we have the Brighton-Newcastle double. So if you did go for an Isak or Wilson, you would have a double in 31 too. But again, one could be injured, whatever. So Botman would come in over Rico Henry. McAllister would come in over Madison. This is where we can potentially consider, maybe Watkins. Newcastle at home, Brentford away isn't great. And then he's got Man United after the Fulham game. Maybe we can look to get rid of Watkins. Maybe this is where we downgrade Madison and bring in for somebody like Phil Foden, as an example, as a cheap midfielder. We could put him in over Watkins and go with something like that. We can also go for an Almiron, as an example. Or, again, Isak or Wilson there. If one of them's injured, then the other one, is probably going to play. So maybe something like that would be on the cards. But, yeah, so we would have to go Solly March if it looks like that Haaland's potentially going to, go up in price or whatever it may be. He could score, 4 in the Liverpool game. We can absolutely get burnt, and he could potentially be... he could have already gone up in price before that because we found out Liverpool's injuries or whatever it may be. We can basically work it out. So that's kind of the plan as it stands. So some type of forward, looking like Watkins at the moment, coming in for Erling Haaland. Then we bench boost. We take up both our Arsenal mids. We bring in McAllister or Solly March, and then Bruno Fernandes. Maybe we can go with somebody else. We'll see. And that's a pretty good bench, in my opinion. You got Kane, Botman, Ben Mee, Kepa. I mean, I expect Probably Botman to keep a clean sheet versus West Ham and probably get 1 point versus Man United. So you're looking at like 7 points. Ben Mee probably won't keep a clean sheet in either, but potentially could get a set piece on one of them. But I'm thinking probably he's going to be more like 2 points. So Botman and him are 2 points. Kepa could easily keep a clean sheet versus Villa. And even Liverpool, to be honest. But he'll make a decent number of saves. I expect him to probably make around like, he'll probably be like 4 points. So you're looking at 12 points. And then it's whatever Harry Kane gets. But basically, if I can get 16 points at a bare minimum, that would be great from the bench boost. And then in game week 30, we bring Haaland back, hopefully for to get rid of Tony, because Watkins has Forest at home, so we want to keep him for that for sure. So yeah, that's kind of the plans there. But currently, as it stands as the team, we got Kepa in goal, Trippier, Botman, Ben Mee, Rico Henry, Maddison, Saka currently with the captaincy, which I'm actually going to swap to Kane, especially since Arsenal have gone 120 minutes, and potentially penalties I haven't checked as anymore, so could be an issue for tiredness there. So yeah, and then Tony as well. And like I said, Haaland could be one of many strikers, but is likely looking like Watkins at the moment. But yeah, that's going to do it for this stream. Hope you all enjoyed it. Let's move over to the big screen. So, thank you all for watching. Kane's red hot. Hopefully the captaincy comes through. I think it's going to be tough between him and Saka. Could be some swings there, but it should be an interesting one. And then it's the last set of fixtures. We'll also know the results of the quarterfinals of the FA Cup as well. Who gets paired up with whom going into the semis. We'll also know the Champions League, Europa League, Conference League, all that sort of stuff going into the quarters as well. So that should be interesting to watch in the coming days, with the draws for the European fixtures being tomorrow. And I believe the draws for the FA Cup fixtures on Sunday, maybe? We'll have to wait and see. And then there's some internationals as well. So thank you all for watching. Make sure to like, favorite, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Remember, it's a Friday deadline. The deadline is Friday, the 17th of March. So make sure to have your teams done, ready, because otherwise you'll miss it. But yeah, thank you all for watching. And until the next one, take care.